Yes, we're here. We love to.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right, everybody. So that was yesterday. So obviously, I'm going to introduce Krista in just a second and give you the full red carpet. Today, Tuesday, is with Krista. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is with Shan Lee. I said, what do you want to do with your expertise? She's like, I don't want to write a book. I don't know how to write books. I'm Chinese immigrant. I want to create an immersive cultural program. So we wrote a retreat and we delivered it in China last year, and she just came back this year. So your program needs to match your personality. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. On Thursday, we got Jana Blage. She's going to talk about AI. And then on Friday, I got Kelly Wagner of The Edge magazine, and she works with so many conscious, spiritual, esoteric, transformational authors and leaders inside of The Edge magazine. So look, every day, 12 to 1 o'clock, and I'm going to make sure that all these links are working. I don't know what happened with our link today, but that is what we're here to do. And I'm going to go this fast. So for those of you meeting me for the first time, like, who is this thoroughbred that won't be quiet? My name's Chris Trammell. I have on Substack, it's On Life Work. How did I come up with the idea of life work? Really quickly, I was working with sacred space leaders during the pandemic, and they were very clear. They were using words like, Chris, my mission in life, my calling, the message I want to give, my life's work has been about. And I heard it. I'm like, oh, that's that Maslow. That's that hierarchy of need right there. That self-actualizing, self-realizing. So my first program was called Launch Your Life's Work. And from that, I wrote my first copy of my book, which is in advanced reader copy stage right now, Living Your Life's Work. Now, that is a big bite for a lot of people to say, well, what is my life work about? Many of you have books, you have talks, you have expertise. Let's start you there. So I was also a track and field coach for 20 years, which meant if you all went through high school, which most of us did, you went from freshman to senior. You also went from frosh off to varsity if you played sports. You grew, your expertise grew over time. And so to bring people from life work, I brought it back to the author launchpad. Let's just get you started with that first program so you could get your trust building offer out there. You could get your first 4 figures or 5 figures consistently from your expertise. And from that, if you want to see some of my other books, they're on the other days. I've got Krista here. We're a few minutes behind, but ultimately I found this coach. I found this coach in 2015 when I was leaving being a teacher. I found her online, and she's wearing this black dress, and she looks really cute like this. And she says, I'll help you with your business. And I reached out to her. Her name was Kelly Roach. And she says, what are you doing? And at that time, I was working with sacred space leaders, helping them create like night lights and different things that they could generate money for their ministries. And so Kelly and I have worked on and off together. And then in 2017, 2018, she created the live launch method. And by the time the pandemic hit, she was so equipped and so ready, and she just zoomed. So I model a lot of my success and what I see and what I bring to clients off of Kelly. And Kelly, most recently, has launched this book, The Miracle Hour by Kelly Roach. And today's conversation, this beautiful genius woman right here is in charge of, is part of, is the strategist behind a lot of this growth. So I get slowed down. Krista Cerminaro, allow me to welcome you. Director of Marketing of the Business Advisory, also the strategic genius behind her Rise Kelly success on Substack, where we're at right now. Support that Kelly made the USA Today bestseller list because of this amazing launch and all the other work that you've done and the team's done from the Del Rey launch. You've been working with content creators. You've been doing this for a while. Krista Cerminaro, will you please, one, welcome to the stage, and 2, did I miss anything fabulous about you that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. I think that was a very, very kind introduction. Thank you, Chris. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. So one of the things I want to know is, how did you get introduced to business? And two, how did you end up with Kelly Road? First, I mean, I see what you're doing for Kelly, one of the wizards behind the curtain, but you're also very facing in the group. But first, what did you do before Kelly? And then how did you end up with Kelly?
Yeah. So I've been in marketing for about 7 years. I actually pivoted careers. I initially started my career in journalism. So I was writing news features and articles for 3 papers in South Jersey. I covered a couple of different towns in the area. And I was very bored. Like, I saw what was happening online in digital media and just the creativity that was, coming from all these different platforms. And we were, on Facebook, and we did some online stuff, but it was, a traditional newspaper. It was, very cut and dry. There was not a lot of creative freedom in that career. And I wanted more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn multimedia. There was a lot that I, was interested in expanding my knowledge around. And so I actually ended up taking a marketing and social media assistant role in the fashion industry for a prom and bridal company, which is where I learned everything about social media. I didn't go to school for marketing or anything like that. I really learned it all on the ground, just in action, day to day. That was back when, TikTok was really becoming like the big thing, kind of like what were we talking about Substack now? It was like all the rage. Everybody was moving over to TikTok. And so I kind of saw this unfold back then. And I was introduced to Kelly actually around the pandemic. A friend of mine was working for her, and I was looking for my next role. And I had interviewed with Danielle actually for a copywriting position. And they were like, well, we actually think you would be great for, social media as well, if you wanted to kind of do some of that. I was like, absolutely, yes. So the rest was kind of history. I've been with Kelly for 5 years now. I say that I've pretty much run social media, launch campaigns, email marketing, like my hands in a little bit of everything with Kelly. And it's been a really fun journey. I was listening to you actually introduce yourself, Chris, and you talked about your previous experience, totally like different than what you're doing now. So it's funny that we're talking about the Miracle Hour and all these crazy milestones that we just achieved that we're so proud of, but none of my experiences in publishing or books or anything like that. Like, everything I've learned kind of like boots on the ground with Kelly, just in action, doing the things. So it's really fun to see all of that come to fruition with little experience and just like, the hustle and just taking action and learning everything you need to learn. It's been a really fun journey. So that's just a little bit about my background.
That's so great. And one, I acknowledge you for the great work you've done, because you've hit the ground running. I've never seen you professionally timid. I've never seen you not bringing all of Krista's service and shine and smile to any of the live streams that we're on and the trainings. And it also speaks to Kelly and the team's training of you to get you sped up and then like, okay, kid, do what you're great at. I trust you. And it really talks to her leadership. So right on. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we're here to contribute to the authors, the entrepreneurs, the speakers. There's some coaches and consultants, no doubt, listening. So let's go into, well, here's one of the things first, Krista. I've seen this happen a few times, and it's kind of where when I've messaged Kelly in the background, some people will register because she's just so darn engaging and authentic and genuine. I will see people just register right into something being completely ill-equipped to start a business, but they're like, I want to do whatever this woman's doing. I want to follow in those footsteps. So the question is how much preparing and remediation do you find yourself having to do with the people who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs, but they aren't quite yet architected to become entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all comes back to relationships, right? So In speaking with people, you very quickly kind of uncover where they're at, what they're struggling with, what their goals are. We always say, when we talk about sales conversations and just having, conversations and building relationships and nurturing your leads, when you listen more than you speak, you learn a lot about someone. And you can ask somebody one question and just kind of sit back and listen, and you'll hear everything that they want to tell you. You'll pretty much get the whole life story if you just kind of ask the right questions and sit back and listen. And so what's really nice about what we do, and I think everyone can kind of learn from this, especially if they're here and wanting to learn how to like launch a book and build a business, like in our ecosystem, there's something for everyone. And so when somebody doesn't, maybe they're a little bit newer in their entrepreneurial journey, and they're not necessarily at the level that we would work with someone in, say, our high ticket mastermind, there's still a place for them in our ecosystem. And we want to serve as many entrepreneurs as humanly possible. And you hear the advice all the time, like, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one, and you want to have a really specific avatar. And we do, right? And we always tell our own clients, like, when you speak at that avatar, you will always create like a trickle down effect of people that are maybe a little bit less experienced or a little bit less qualified for your offer, because they're aspiring to be that level, right? They're identifying with who that person is at that level. So they, of course, they see something and they're like, that's going to be me one day. Like, I'm going to go and register for that thing, or I'm going to go sign up for that thing. And that's great. We want them to come to all the workshops. We want them to come to everything, because they're going to get value from it. That's everything that we do, whether it's free or paid or a book or a podcast, it's always to provide value. So even if somebody's not necessarily at the level, they're at the very, early stages of their business, they're still going to come to everything that we do, and they're still going to get value. And when I say like there's a place for everyone in the ecosystem, if they're not quite ready for the mastermind yet, that's why we have a trust building offer, because that's kind of like lays the foundation of what they need to get started. And if they're not ready for that yet, which is, Chris, it's our virtual business school. So we launched the virtual business school a few years ago for entrepreneurs and their teams at all stages who want to master daily sales online. Like, the foundation of business growth is daily sales. That is the heartbeat of a healthy business. And so people who are inconsistent with revenue, maybe they're leaving a successful corporate career and working on, building their business and, from the ground up, they need that foundation. And so we saw that gap in the market, and Kelly was like, we need this offer. Like, this is what's missing. And so she created the virtual business school. We brought it to the market, and we're serving hundreds of clients now. And that's really where people who are not quite there can come to learn the foundations. We also have 7+ figure businesses in the virtual business school, and they come because they want their teams to learn those foundations. Or maybe things have been really consistent for a while, and then, the market's always changing, things are shifting, and they need to stay current. So we teach a trust building offer strategy to kind of bring people in to get them that quick win, to get them where they need to be. But if they're still not at that level, we've got podcasts, we've got books, we've got free workshops. And that's kind of where we're really cultivating our ecosystem. Like, it's kind of choose your own adventure. There's always something for everyone. And so if we're in a conversation and somebody's really eager and really excited to learn, but they're not quite at that level, here's a book that would be perfect for you, or here's a podcast that would be perfect for you. So kind of just like pointing them to the right place in the ecosystem, and then filtering out, where do you need to invest your time to speak to the clients that are your dream clients, your ideal clients. So it's not to like neglect anybody in your world or anything like that. It's just putting people where they belong, where they're going to get the best results, because you also don't want to sell to somebody who's not ready for your offer, because who's that going to benefit, right? You're going to have to turn on the back end. They're going to waste money. You're going to waste time. That's not good for anybody. So you want to hone in on your dream clients. And that's why we teach the Dream 1000 and the Miracle Hour, which we'll get into, I'm sure, Chris. But also it's like, there's a place for everyone. And if you're not ready for something we offer, that's great. We're going to point you to the right direction. We're going to let you consume everything you need to from us to be able to get that breakthrough that you're looking for. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I hope that answered your question.
Ladies and gentlemen, Krista Cerminaro just dropped you knowledge right there. If you just took that clip, I'm gonna play it back, because she also told you she's from Jersey, so she goes this fast, and Kelly's from Philly, and she goes this fast. So you got to buckle up anytime you're on these calls, right? They just go. But here we go. First things first. I heard one, provide value. Provide value, provide value, provide value. So authors, speakers, experts listening, what is the value that you're going to get crystal clear on providing, right? And you want to call it out very clearly. Like for me, authors, speakers, experts. Kelly calls and Krista call it out. When you say your ideal avatars, who do you say?
Yeah, we typically target mid 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs, ideally businesses or business owners who have had success in the online space. We work with businesses in all different industries, coaches, consultants, pediatricians, SLPs, people in human design, authors, branding, marketing, agencies. So we work with service providers, but typically our best clients are service providers who have had success, whether that's in a corporate career or in their own career or a business, and they have the what we like to call the psychographics of a business athlete. So it's not necessarily like they're from this area or they do this thing or they make this money. It's, are they committed to win? And that's somebody who's willing to do what it takes, who's willing to show up. They're not looking for the shortcut. And they want to learn what it takes to be successful online. And that's what we teach is sales systems, marketing, branding, visibility expansion, and ultimately duplication of those results through team. So we kind of teach a little bit of all of the elements of what makes an online business or offline successful. But our ideal client is a business athlete. That's what we like to say. It's somebody who is committed to taking action even when they're not seeing the results right away, or even when it feels really hard, or even on the days they don't want to show up because there's a million other things they could be doing. And it's somebody who's like, I am committed to this goal no matter what. And we serve businesses who want to build extraordinarily successful businesses without compromising the things that matter most. So if you follow Kelly online or know anything about what she does, she's a homeschool mom. She prioritizes her faith in her family. And it's one of the reasons why I love working with her is because what we teach is what we model, and it's success without compromise. And so, yeah, that's who we work with. It's service-based businesses who they have a drive to build an extraordinarily profitable and successful business without sacrificing the things that matter most.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Again, you just flick the right switch on Krista and she goes. So I'm catching Krista. If I'm not looking at the screen, anybody else, if you haven't been with me before, I write notes. Old school teacher, I go pen to paper. I'm not like you youngsters that do everything from a phone. I still write pen to paper. So you have said these nuggets, and I want to reflect back at people. One, you talked about we saw value. Two, early on, you talked about sorting your leads. So what are they ready for? And that you have something for, right? So just like when I had an athlete come out, okay, I need to put you on frosh off. I need to put you JV. You're ready for varsity. Like you got to sort where they're at because that's where you got to meet them. You got to meet them where they're at. Really good. We're going to get into daily sales in just a moment. You passed over it, but it was really good. You said we saw the gaps in the market, and that is a very lived experience piece of wisdom because you can't quite see the gaps if you haven't lived it, you haven't done it. And you haven't realized, oh, this is what they're going to encounter. I should create a solution to what challenge they may encounter. That was beautiful, Krista. Trust building offer. We'll get into that in a moment. We'll talk about the virtual business school, which is what, again, I model my world because I want to be a funnel for Kelly. So I've got the author business school that I'm working and developing on because there's a little bit of difference inside of the next thing you talked about, the psychographics. What are people thinking? How do they see themselves? How do they see their business in the future? You demonstrated that so well. The biz athlete. That was a great statement because we see pictures of Kelly, and I'll let you talk about this in just 1 second. Kelly always talks about the business athlete because she talks about practice, repetition, doing the hard work. So let's unfold the biz athlete for just a minute, and then we want to get into some of the nuts and bolts of what makes the Miracle Hour work and why it is that 1 hour. So first, how do you support and like whenever Kelly's like, hey, Krista, let's go focus on the biz athlete. Tell me about that because it really calls me forward as an athlete and as a business owner. I dig it when I see her lifting weights and out there doing the work. So share.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, it comes from conversations because you can look at anyone's social media presence and make an assumption that, oh, this would be a great client, right? Or this person fits the criteria for the type of person that I work with. They're a coach or a consultant and they run a business and they have a team. Like, they check all the boxes from what I can see. But until you get in that personal conversation to really understand, like, what is that person looking for? Do you have the solution for them based on what their goals are, what they're working towards or prioritizing? That's number one. But number two, like, what is their commitment to achieving that goal? Are they looking for an easy button? Are they looking for, an overnight success? Or are they someone who's like, put me in, coach, like, tell me what to do and I'll do it? Because everything that we teach requires taking action. Like, and I'm not going to say, well, we'll probably touch on this in a bit. Like, we're not anti-AI. We use AI. Danielle and I are actually taking an AI course right now because we're trying to learn, strategies that we can use to free up our own time so that we can invest in doing the things that move the needle. So there's like two types of people right now. There's the group of people that they want to use AI to automate everything and just be completely hands off and go sip margaritas on the beach and make $1 million, which sounds great, but it's not practical, right? And then there's the other side where it's like AI is inevitable. It's happening. It's going to be as mainstream as the internet is now. Everyone's going to have it and use it and all those things. But instead of looking at it from the mindset of I'm going to use AI to automate my entire business, it's what can I use AI for so that I can invest in things that actually matter. And that's our mindset on it right now. And so the people that we work with, we want them to have the same mindset of like, I am willing to roll up my sleeves and do what needs to be done to be successful. And if you're part of our virtual business school, we show up every single Wednesday on a live call and we do the miracle hour together. Like, we're sending DMs, we're sending messages, we're in action. So when we speak to potential clients, when we're connecting with people online, or somebody reads our book and comes back and they're like, I loved this, like, tell me more. When we're in this, it's really when we're in those personal conversations where we can identify, like, is this person committed to win? And that's typically the person that, like, doesn't just show up to all of your free trainings and like watches everything and they're always there, but they're not doing anything. But it's like the person that comes to your training and then they message you and they're like, hey, I followed what you told me to do and I made 2 sales this week. So like, that's the person we're looking for. So like, when we're doing our own miracle hour and we're growing our audience, and me, like, I'm not a salesperson. I work in marketing. My focus primarily with Kelly's company is brand growth, visibility, bringing new people into our ecosystem. And so I use my miracle hour in that way. And we can talk about a little bit, what it looks like by department, because everyone's role is a little bit different, but the goal is the same. It's connect with more people, enroll more people, and change more lives. And so my role in that is kind of top of funnel. It's bringing people into our ecosystem, getting Kelly more discoverability so that they can ultimately read her books, attend her workshops, like learn more about what she does, and then enroll ultimately in either a trust building offer or attend a live event with us, or, work with Danielle one-on-one or work with Kelly one-on-one in a VIP day. And they get the transformation they need because we had that conversation and we know where they're at, where they want to be, and what offer in our offer suite is that exact right solution for them. But we can't do that unless we have those personal connections, those personal relationships to learn, number one, like, how can we best support this person? But number two, like, do they have the mindset? Are they going to succeed with our strategy? Because our strategy is not take this automation, plug it into your business and run. That's not our strategy. It's never going to be. Like, we teach things that can support that. Like, if you are one of our Substack subscribers, we just launched a full like Substack prompt bundle where you can actually use ChatGPT and the prompts that we give you to grow on Substack. But if you look at the strategy we teach, like, that can enhance and speed up your content creation. That's not to replace being in the DMs and connecting with every single person that follows you. Like, our strategy will never be AI first. So when we're enrolling clients in any program, whether it's our mastermind, whether it's virtual business school, whether it's one-to-one consulting, is this person going to show up and do the work every day without fail, no matter what's happening? So that's kind of when we look for our ideal client, that is what we're looking for. And those are the conversations that we're having.
You're so good. Again, for those of you watching now or watching in the replay, what I invite you to do, because my reverse engineering brain goes on, everything Krista just shared is from the experience of trial, testing, practice, and then having the conversations with team to sort better, to provide better solutions. But now it just rolls off her tongue because they've been doing it for so long. So let's back it all, Krista. Let's back it all. There was this girl, lived in Philly, used to go out there with a note card, and she'd write on it all the people she was going to call. And she'd sit in her little Jeep Patriot, and she'd call everybody for an hour before she had to drive home to her baby Madison and Billy. And she bet her butt that if she did this every day for an hour, she could build a business. And over time, she builds an 8-figure business on this idea right here, the miracle hour, that she went ahead and said, primed it to a miracle hour. And so let me just give a little reading of it, and then I want you to break down. We want people to take away and to start doing. The miracle hour is the modern sales playbook to take back your time, reclaim your big dream, and build the businesses that supports it, and build the business that supports it. 1 hour a day can forever change your life, especially when applied to building a daily sales system in your business. While most entrepreneurs find themselves wondering how they ended up working more and earning less, hi, I've been there, and I'm working on growing my scaling part too, because that line really hits home for me. Those who install the Miracle Hour daily sales system experience something radically different. What is the radical difference, Krista, and how do we get there with the Miracle Hour? And for those of you that are here, I'll give away 2 copies to anybody. First person to tell me who they are, if they're published, if they're not, what you're doing, put your name in, DM me your address. I got 2 books to send to you. All right, Krista, all yours. Miracle Hour.
Yeah. So it's funny. The Miracle Hour didn't start as the Miracle Hour, Chris, right? So like you just shared Kelly's background, and she is a former Fortune 500 executive, turned 8-figure entrepreneur, but she really started her career in sales, rising the ranks in a Fortune 500 staffing firm. So she was promoted 7 times in 8 years. She managed teams of over 100 in 17 different locations. And she was working a lot, and she knew that there was more to life, right? She had a new baby at home. She was traveling all the time. And so she knew that the key to impacting more people, making more money, unlocking that freedom that she was craving was to go and start her business. So she actually started her business on her lunch break. She never took a lunch break up until this point. And that was the only time she had, right? Because she had to serve her clients in the evening, and she had to, put Madison to bed at night and life, right? So she had her lunch break. So she started taking her lunch break. And what she would do is she would go out into the car, and in that hour, she basically would say, what are the things I can do in this hour that are actually going to move the needle? Like, I need to talk to people. I need to post online and let people know what I'm doing, and that, I'm open for business here, right? Like, I need to follow up with prospects. Like, I need to get in conversation. And this is in an era where, like, we didn't have Claude or ChatGPT or ManyChat to do all the automating, all the follow up. Like, this was like, what can I do from where I am with what I have? And so that hour of taking those actions built her business to 7 figures before she even left her full-time corporate job. And she pulled those same principles out into growing the business as a full-time entrepreneur, and now runs a multiple 8-figure portfolio of companies. And so it wasn't that she developed this strategy out of thin air. It was like, it is a miracle what happens when people actually do the right things. And so many people are so distracted, like spending hours every single week trying to learn AI or learn this new hack, or I just followed this person and they told me I need to do it this way, so I'm going to go do it this way. And there's so much distraction and like conflicting advice and opinions. People are trying to like do it all, and it's just stalling out their results, and they're wondering why they're not growing, when they could take an hour a day or more. And we always say, like, if you're not where you want to be in terms of revenue growth, like, your miracle hour can be a miracle day. It doesn't need to be 1 hour. Like, if you run, if you're a salesperson, your miracle hour should be your full-time job. But it's really basically for the busy CEO who's managing clients, managing team, has a family at home, who's like, I want to grow. If you just took 1 hour and followed the steps of reaching out to people, following up with people, nurturing the people in your ecosystem, posting, getting visible, like all those things that actually move the needle in terms of profits, you would be surprised at how quickly you grow and how quickly that compounds. There's so many people who, like, they turn on the ad funnel, they run ads, they get a bunch of leads in their ecosystem, but they're always chasing more. They're not like actually even doing anything with the people that they have. And you could look at anyone that's watching the stream right now, like you're writing a book, you want to build a business, you want it to feed your program. So you do this whole big launch campaign and get hundreds of people to buy the book, and then nothing happens after. Like there's no
all the time.
So
all the time.
Yeah. So the whole purpose of Miracle Hour is like leverage what you have and capitalize on those relationships and move them through, because people statistically will buy from one of the last 3 people that they heard of. And if you're not staying top of mind and someone else is, when they're ready to finally make that buying decision, they're going to go with someone else. But people just assume that a no or a not right now is like a permanent thing, and they just move on to the next, and they want the newest leads. And that's kind of how the focus shifts. But they're not like, okay, this person told me they're in a program right now and they're going to revisit this in the fall. They never actually even follow up through to the fall, right? They're just chasing new people. So the Miracle Hour simplifies it by giving you the exact activities to focus on that actually matter. So it didn't start by like Kelly was like, oh, I'm going to go, create the Miracle Hour so people can sell more. It was literally what she did. And it was a miracle that in that hour, just focusing on the right things instead of getting distracted, trying to build a website, playing around on Canva. She literally did the things she knew would make a difference. And this is all based on real things that she did in her corporate career, right? So Kelly comes from a sales background, and the way that she had built her career and broke records in sales in her career was by reaching out to people, maintaining relationships. There were multiple clients in the company where her higher ups were like, don't bother with that person, like they're never going to close. And she stayed on them, and what happened, they became a client. So it was just this like process of ongoing follow-up and personalization and like being a human. And she took those same principles, translated that to building her business. She knew what worked. So when she had that hour, she was like, I'm not going to stay distracted. I'm not going to go try to build a website and then launch a website to no one, right? Because what's the point in that? It's like, I'm going to do what I know is effective. And she did that, and she built her business. And so now she teaches other people how to do the same. And the Miracle Hour is not a one size fits all. It's very different, like depending on what your goals are. You can kind of tailor it, but the whole purpose is like, let's radically simplify sales. It does not need to be complicated. You don't need expensive tech. You don't need to have like years of sales experience. You just need to stay committed to doing the right things every single day, and they will snowball. So that's kind of the whole premise of the Miracle Hour. And it is a miracle that if people actually stick to it, they will get results.
Krista, you packed so much with so much enthusiasm into every response. I love it. I want to take a couple pieces out of there. So I'm going to give you a couple prompts, and you got to keep it bite-sized, because you are giving people the smorgasbord of success, and they don't know how to break it down. And that's why we do what we do. Yeah. Kelly says, and I want you to finish this and then take it for a little bit. Simplicity. Well, you say it. What did she say about simplicity and complexity?
Simplicity scales, complexity kills.
That's right. So how do we simplify things?
Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down to just knowing like what is the 20% of the things that you're doing that account for 80% of the results. And that's not our principle. Like, people talk about the 80-20 rule all the time. The Miracle Hour is a living, breathing example of that, because when you can eliminate all the distraction that you're just dealing with every day, people are like, I'm so busy, I don't have time to post. I don't have time to, follow up with people. It's not like this sexy thing. It's much more sexy to go build a website. But when you look at, okay, where did my last 20 clients come from? They probably came from relationships and conversations and connections. So looking at like, what is actually producing the results? And then how can I take everything on my calendar that is not that and either delegate it, delete it, or automate it, or figure out a way to give it to AI and let AI handle it, so that I can open up that hour or 2 hours to do the things that are actually getting me clients. So it's just auditing your own calendar. And there's a time audit exercise in the Miracle Hour that's really helpful, that I definitely recommend if people didn't read the book to go through that and do a time audit. You'll realize how many things every week could be either delegated, automated, or just completely removed from the calendar.
Awesome. Absolutely. Okay. So give me Krista's big 5 of the Miracle Hour. Like, Chris, if I had to say, these are the 5 things that I want every author, speaker, entrepreneur to do until they've built the muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger of these 5 things. I don't want them to do anything else. Okay. Gym trainer of success. What are they? What would you say?
Yeah. So, like I said, it looks a little bit different depending on who you are, what your role is in your company, or as a CEO. My Miracle Hour activities look a little bit different than Nicole, who manages our clients. So it really does depend on your goals. So I definitely encourage everybody to, before you start your Miracle Hour, identify what is your objective, because there are multiple things that you can use the Miracle Hour for. But I think there's a couple things that they kind of ring true no matter who you are or what you're doing. I would say, obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I am a marketer, but obviously posting every single day. People use this as a if I have time kind of thing, I'll post if I have time. They're not consistent. And it's funny, I'm actually planning a wedding right now. We're getting married in September. And when I'm looking for vendors, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited. But when I'm looking for vendors, I'm not even using Google. Guess what? I'm using social media. I'm looking at who is active, who's posting, who's sharing actual work that they've done. I want to see their clients. I want to see that they're engaging with people and that they're responsive. So if I go to find someone that's recommended from an article or a blog post and I see that they haven't posted in a year, I'm not even going to bother sending an inquiry on their website because they don't care enough to show that they're active and open for business, right? I might assume that they're not even in business anymore. So posting should not be a when I have time thing. Get consistent every single day. Show up because in the era of online business, you posting on social media is you saying, hey, I'm open. Here's my open sign. I'm flipping it on. So I would say get active on social media. Even if it's one platform, we always recommend at least 2 because you never know. Things are unpredictable. Accounts get shut down. But post, that's first and foremost. That's how you bring that inbound traffic in and generate that interest, because you may have people that never answer a DM ever from you, but they watch everything that you do. They look at every single post. And again, when they're ready, we've had people who have literally never answered us. 3 months in, they're like, hey, how do I sign up for whatever offer? Boom, credit card, no question, because they've been lurking, right? They're looking, they're not engaging, they're just kind of passively consuming. So you can't even create that opportunity if you're not active on social media. So that's number 1 is post. Number 2, welcome messages. People get followers, they spend money on ads, they invest so much effort into building their social media, building their email list, and they're not actually even having conversations with those people. So welcome people into your community. Ask them why they followed you. What are they looking for? Build relationships with those people, because that's your opportunity right there, is when they first discover you. So I would say welcome messages, super important. Follow-ups, people have gold sitting in their DMs, gold from, months ago. They ran a workshop, they invited all these people, they got people registered, and then the workshop dies and they don't
You
convert.
created a book launch team.
And again, it's back to that shiny. Right. Yeah. It's they don't ever follow up with those people. And so go back to all the people in your DMs that you're like, hey, thank you so much for supporting my book launch. I'm actually doing a workshop coming up this fall that's going to be about one of the principles I talk about in the book. I know you got a ton of value from the book. Would you mind sharing with your community? Would you be open to it? So there's so much gold from past campaigns that people are just leaving because they're chasing new, right? They're looking for a new street team to promote their book instead of going back to people that promoted their last book. There's so much gold. So going back and reactivating those conversations, super important. Right. Nurture is so important. I said the example before, somebody's not right. Somebody reads your book and they're like, this is so amazing. I would love to work with you, but I just had a baby, so I'm not really focusing on, my business right now. Okay, great. But nobody ever actually keeps on that person. And so then when the fall comes and they're ready to work on their business, they're going to go work with someone else who's actually in their DMs having conversations with them. So I think not taking a no personally and actually pulling that conversation through month after month, even with no agenda, nurture your people, stay top of mind. Not every interaction has to be a sales interaction. You can message and say, hey, I was thinking of you. How's the baby doing? Like, how's this going? How are you feeling? So there's so many ways you can stay top of mind without like being like, hey, are you ready yet? Hey, are you ready yet? And people think that
So good.
interactions have to be sales, and they don't. So I think like just pure nurture is so underrated right now. Like people are obsessed with making the sale, and so they feel that sense of like pressure and urgency to like make the ask all the time. But like there is a time and place, and it's in your daily miracle hour to build relationships and nurture the people that are in your ecosystem that are not right now, because that's how you make them a yes when they're ready, because 3% of your market is ready to buy at any given time. So that 97%, you don't want to neglect them. They're just not ready to buy right now. So nurture, super, super important. I think I gave you 4. And then the big one is make offers. Some people are so scared to make offers that all they do is nurture. So I see like two ends of the spectrum, right? The first one is like, I need to sell, I need to do all these things. So I'm just going to like spam everybody on my follower list or spam everybody that bought my book and ask them to buy. And if they say no, okay, I'll just move on to the next thing. That's like camp 1. And then camp 2 is like, oh, I feel really weird making this offer. I feel like I'm being, sleazy or like a used car salesman, and I'm just going to keep talking to them. And that's great. Like it's like 2 extremes. And so you not making offers, we always say, is like you withholding transformation from somebody who really needs it. And if somebody buys your book, like if somebody comes to us and they buy the Miracle Hour and they're like, that was amazing. Like I'm implementing, I'm taking action. This is gold. Like I never knew it could be so simple. And we're just like, yeah, that's great. Thanks. Like instead of saying, okay, that's so awesome to hear. By the way, like if you want some accountability in implementing your Miracle Hour, we do it live together every Wednesday in our virtual business school. Like, have you heard of it? Like us not inviting them to that opportunity when they could literally come on calls with us and make sales live, like we're withholding that from them. So it's kind of reframing your mindset of like, you're not being salesy. You're not pushing anyone to do something they don't want to do. When you actually know your people and have relationships with them, you can make that right offer at the right time. And you don't feel bad about it because you know it's only going to help them achieve what they really are aspiring to achieve. And so people think it's, wrong to sell. But if somebody reads your book and they're so empowered and uplifted and inspired and ready to take action, for you not to invite them to take the next step and take that even further, imagine how much transformation you're leaving on the table, whether it's business growth, whether it's health, whether it's mindset, nervous system regulation. Like it could be any topic, any industry. I'm not just speaking to like people who help people build businesses and make money, but somebody who wants to lose weight and get healthy and feel their best, in midlife. Like there's so many ways that you can help people get results in any area of their life. And if you're not making those offers, they never know that you're offering it, and they're staying stuck in that same cycle that they've been stuck in. So it's up to you to be the bridge to that transformation. So if I had to give anybody like, here's the 5 that you should do now, those would be the 5.
Those are big 5. And so for anybody watching, I'm going to download this transcript. You're going to see the clips that Substack puts out there, and I will create a worksheet that I'll share with Krista. I'll share with myself. And just so you know, again, modeling, I'm going to probably take some of this week's talks and turn them into lead magnets, because each person's talking about something different. And you're giving the gold of growing the business, of the marketing, and how to, convert it into sales. So thank you for that answer, Krista. As we get closer to landing, I'm going to shift now just a little bit, okay? Because you gave them the gold. Check. Now it's up to them to implement. Oh, here, let me do one more thing. For those of you, I'm going to go ahead and put into the chat right now. I just put into the link. Kelly is doing another training. It's not live in Delray. This one's all Zoom, if I remember correctly. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. Because I would have to fly out to Delray again. I just put into the link right now. June 24th. What time is it? At 10?
It is 10 to 5. 10 to 5 Eastern. Full day. Yep.
Eastern. Very good. 10 to 5 Eastern. We want you there. And this is your opportunity to, in fact, I'm just going to share it. Do I know how to share? Am I smart enough to know how to share on these things yet? I don't know. I don't want to. Oh, yeah. let's see. I'm going to do entire screen. It means it's going to show you way too much. And then I'm going to go right here to, hopefully it, great. So look, everyone, right here, free live workshop. There is no reason if you're like, I don't know how to get more sales, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm always going to recommend Kelly Roach, Krista, Danielle, Nicole, Ignacio, the whole team there over my programs. And if you're an author, I want you to come work with me. But this day, June 24th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I want you here. We want you here. This will make a huge difference. And I'll also, like I said, for the persons who reach out to me and DM me, I've got 2 books that you can get these 2 books before the event. You can read it before the event actually comes. So I want you to join. I got to stop sharing. Wow, I just did one of those infinity screens right there. All right, so we got that. Krista, as we land this, you have a unique seat. You have watched people from early dreams. You've got the 8-figure persons who are looking, how do they exit? So fast forward 30 years, 25 years, Krista says, hey, Chris, I want you to help me identify my life work. And I want people to know this message about themselves. I want people to know that this is what I learned about who people are and what they're out to do. What would you say is one of the things that you really see that you're like, there it is again. I see it out there. What are you seeing? What's that message you want people to know about themselves?
I think it's just remember why you started and bringing people back to that, because I think a lot of times people get into business for a reason, right? It's never random. It's like they want to, have more time with their family, be more present, impact more people. And in the like hustle and grind of getting up and running and building to that 8-figure point, like sometimes people lose sight of that and they get distracted or they put in the extra hours and they're like, it's temporary, it's just a season, like, things will calm down when this happens. And they don't build their business around their life. They kind of start building their life around their business. And so I think the whole why we do what we do at Kelly Roach International is because we want people to be able to create that success without compromising the whole reason they started in the first place. And so I think looking back, it's making sure, like, no matter what stage somebody hits. So some people want to build small boutique businesses and they're content with that. Some people want to build massive empires that are global, and that's great. All of those goals are great, but making sure that in the process of building those goals, they don't lose sight of why they started. And that's why the Miracle Hour is so powerful, because it doesn't require an 80-hour work week. It doesn't require you to like be on all the time. If you're doing the right things in that dedicated time, you can build a flexible schedule. You can do the Miracle Hour in the car while you're waiting for your kids to be done soccer practice. Like, you can fit it into your life instead of feeling like I need to be glued to this thing and always on and hustling for the next sale. It really creates a natural rhythm of daily sales because you're constantly filling your pipeline, and it just makes business feel good, and it makes growth feel good and manageable, and not like you need to go and learn all these crazy tech things and become an AI master. Like, just simplify it and watch your business grow. And that is the catalyst. That is the key to creating the success that you want without losing out on all the things you started it for. I think that's what I would say is like success without compromise.
Wow. Krista, that was fabulous. I told you we would go through an hour in about 15 minutes. Our 15 minutes are up, and so is the 60 minutes we packed in it. I thank you tremendously for the knowledge, the expertise, the amount of lives that you impacted, that you change, and you may never know about, of all the kids that are so much happier because their parents have figured it out. I acknowledge you for all that work that you do for Kelly and everybody else out there. Your work, the lives of the work you do touches. So thank you so much. And thanks for being a guest today on Chris Trammell Life Work and From Published to Profitable. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be posting this again. I'll be sharing it. I'll send Krista's links as well, the virtual business school links. And please get over to the Miracle Launch live training on June 24th, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'd love to see you there with us. And Krista, thank you so much for being here today. You have yourself a fabulous day.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. This was so much fun. And hopefully we'll see you all
Cool.
on June
Thank you.
24th. Bye.
That's right. All right, everyone. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll make sure that the links are working with Shan Lee of Homecoming, and she's going to talk about it. What does your program have to be? Maybe it's a retreat, a cultural immersion somewhere else in the world. So with that being said, join us tomorrow, 12 to 1 p.m. I'm going to be streaming it again, and look for those links. So bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, Krista.